Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our October user group. Thanks very much for joining us. It's great to see so many of you attending. I'm Poppy Belas, Marketing Executive here at I2O, and I'm joined by Paul Leverett. Paul, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm Paul Leverett. I'm Head of Technical Support at I2O, and great to see so many people joining us today, not only from the UK, but from around the world. So welcome to all of you.
Thanks, Paul. Firstly, I'd like to welcome back those of you who have previously joined our user groups and say a warm welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. Before we get started, I'll go through some house rules and reminders. You'll see that you're all on listen only mode, so if you do have any questions, please raise your hand using the hand icon as you can see on the screen there. I can then unmute you, so please just introduce yourself before asking your question. Alternatively, you can use the questions/chat menu of the GoToWebinar window and just type in your questions instead. Feel free to use that panel throughout the webinar, and Paul and I will answer as many questions as we can at the end. As usual, this will be recorded, so when you receive the recording, do feel free to share it with your colleagues that weren't able to make it today. So I'll begin by giving a brief intro of I2O and some of the highlights that have happened during Q3 before handing over to Paul, who will discuss our new mobile configurator app and our control logger. I'll then update you on our product roadmaps before finally covering off any questions that may have been submitted throughout the webinar. So kicking off with a brief intro to I2O, we provide smart water network solutions for water utilities with over 100 water utilities in more than 35 countries using our solutions. We're headquartered here in the UK with offices in Malaysia, Colombia and Dubai. It's been another busy quarter for us. We've released a new Android app which enables technicians to configure and view real-time data from its data loggers. We've also been working on new features and a brand new solution which we'll delve into the details of during this webinar. You can keep up with all of our latest news on our website and social media channels. If anyone's interested in receiving our blog and press releases each month, please do subscribe via the news page of our website. So as mentioned, we're pleased to announce that we now offer not 3 but 4 smart network solutions. So we have DNet, which is our data collection solution, iNet, our data visualization solution, which allows our clients to gain maximum insight from data gathered from their network, ONet, which is our optimization solution that enables you to remotely control and automatically optimize pressure at PRVs and pumps across your entire network. And last but not least, our latest solution, eNet, which is an event management solution that enables everyone to play their part in effectively diagnosing and resolving large and small events wherever they might be. I'll come back to eNet during the product roadmap section of the webinar. Before I hand you back to Paul, we have a quick poll question for you to answer. Okay, so our first poll in today's session asks whether you have used our new configurator app. The Android app, it's designed to make logger deployment easier by using a mobile device instead of a laptop. So I hope that some of you have already found it useful. If you could please select your answer. If you haven't already, I'll just give you a few more seconds and then I'll hand you back to Paul.
Okay, thank you, Poppy. That was interesting. We can see that from that poll that a few of you have used our app already, but not too many. So maybe we haven't advertised it quite well enough. We know around the world that we do have quite a few people who have downloaded and using it. So let me tell you a bit more about that. Okay, so the configurator app enables you to configure loggers from a mobile or tablet device. It will be supporting our new Logger 17 later in the year. But to start with, we're going to look at what's currently supported, which is the Logger 14s, which will be familiar to many of you. So I have a short video here just to take you through some of the main features. So Poppy, can you start the video for me? So to connect the Logger 14 to the mobile device, we use a standard cable that you're used to with a USB adapter. You can get these USB adapters from many mobile phone shops, or we can supply them if you prefer. Once you've connected to the app, it automatically launches and connects in the same way that you're used to connecting with your laptop. Again, it shows you real-time information about pressure and flow and gives you connection status when you dial up. We can also change the settings of pressure and flow in the same way that you can through a laptop, but of course using a mobile device is much more convenient and saves having to take a laptop out on site. We can also decommission loggers when they're no longer in use, again the same way as you can on a laptop. If you have problems with connecting, of course you can connect to support in the usual way, and we've included the contact details actually within the app just for convenience, so you can email us directly from the app or contact us via one of our support phone numbers. So that was a bit quick, just to recap on some of those key features. First of all, you need an Android device to use the app. Can work on both mobile phones and tablet devices. You use the standard configurator cable, the same as you would use for a laptop, but we need a USB converter cable to convert to the mobile. So the actual functions of the configurator are very similar to the laptop configurator that many of you will be used to using. They can show pressure and flow readings in real time. Now, obviously, the advantage of using a mobile device is that's very convenient for technicians, even with existing deployed loggers, if they want to go and do a quick check on site to see what pressures are in real time, maybe in the while managing an incident. But also we can deploy loggers using the mobile configurator. We can trigger dial-ups to deploy the logger or to get new data into the ITRO platform. And we can also do the usual configuration things of configuring a pressure offset or flow scaling to suit your flow meter on site. When you're removing a logger from use, the app allows you to decommission it. This is particularly useful for those cases where you're using loggers for temporary deployments. And I know some of our customers have technicians with a number of loggers in the van and go and put them out for a week or two and then collect them again. In that case, being able to decommission it quickly from the app is very useful. So the configuration app is available in many countries around the world, but it's not in every country. So if you look for it in the Play Store and can't find it, please do let us know and we can enable it in your country. You can download it directly from the Google Play Store in the normal way for Android apps. The easiest way is just to search for I2O and you'll find it very easily.
Thank you, Paul. Had a couple of comments there saying that you weren't able to see the screen. So sorry about that. We had a bit of a technical issue. I think that's now been resolved. Thanks for letting us know. And if you do get any other issues, please do raise your hand or drop a comment in the chat. That's really helpful. Thank you for that. So now on to our second poll question, which is, have you heard of I2O's control logger? Okay, I'm going to close the poll now.
Okay, thank you for that. I mean, that's great news that about 2/3 of you have heard of the control logger already. Shows our marketing department done a good job. Before I talk about control logger as such, I just want to take you through logger 17. So as many of you already know, logger 17 is our latest range of loggers for recording pressure and flow. And this supersedes the previous range, which was logger 14, which some of you have been using for the last couple of years. The new version uses the latest technologies that have enabled us to reduce costs and therefore reduce the price for our client. And it's also available in a 3G model rather than just 2G. An important addition to logger 17 is that you can also use it as a PRV controller if it's a 3-pressure version. And when we talk about control logger, we're talking about the 3-pressure version of a logger 17, which is able to be used for control. So we have 3 main variants of logger 17. We have a version with no pressure transducers at all that can be used for flow-only applications. 1P for single pressure, often for looking at average zone points, points of interest, or critical points on your network. and a 3P version for measuring the upstream, downstream and control space pressures of a PRV. So it's this last one, the 3P version, that can be used as a control logger. And this new control logger supersedes the old controller 09, which many of you used for 3, 4, 5 or even 6 years. So it's a new technology that replaces the old controller. All of the Logger 17s are available in 10 or 30 bar options and with either 2G or 3G communication. Logger 17 also supports bidirectional flow for the first time, and a new decaying alarms feature which automatically updates data in the platform at predetermined intervals after an alarm condition. So just a little bit about the differences with the new Logger 17 and control logger. Those of you who are familiar with Logger 14 will be used to the metal connectors that we have. On the Logger 17 we have plastic connectors, and you can see they're color coded. So we have black for the APB connection, blue for flow meter and external supplies, red for connecting to your laptop, and then the usual quick connectors on the pressure transducers for upstream, downstream and control space pressure at the PRV. You'll see that the connectors we have here have a very easy to use bayonet connection, which is very secure. So to connect them, all you do is line up the arrow on the cable and on the body of the logger and push it in, and it clicks into place and holds it there very securely. When we connect a Logger 17 to our configurator program, if it's a 3 pressure version, so it's a control logger, we can see that we have some additional options on configurator for APV calibration and APV manual control. Again, those of you who've been using the old controller 09 will be familiar with these in the water service app. So they look quite different, but they do very much the same sort of thing. So I'll talk more about APV calibration in a few minutes, but first of all I just wanted to mention some improvements we've made to our APV. So for those of you who don't know what APV stands for, this is our advanced pilot valve, which is an important part of I2O's PRV control system. As we've mentioned in previous webinars, we've been working hard to make many small but important improvements to the APV to reduce its cost and improve its quality. It's now manufactured in-house at I2O's Woolston factory, and we've changed to a machining process for the main body instead of the previous casting, ensuring we get an excellent build quality and at the same time have reduced costs. The latest model also has a new cable to connect to the control loggers, so that's the plastic connector rather than the metal one it had previously. The process of calibrating an APV is the same as with our previous controllers, but now we're using configurator instead of the old water service application that used Bluetooth to connect to the previous devices. I'm just going to show you a quick video that shows the calibration process. So before opening the isolation valves that allow the APV to control your PRV, it's necessary to set the initial APV motor position to give the required downstream pressure. And that's what we mean by APV calibration. So when we connect a control logger, we need to select the main screen of the configurator and go to APV calibration. You need to be in service mode in order to proceed to calibrate the APV, so that's changed with a switch at the top. Once you're in service mode, you can click and type the minimum P2 that you have fixed manually by adjusting the end cap. The default for this is 18, but in this example we've got 22. We then set the fixed outlet P2 pressure that we want to achieve after calibration. The maximum P2 is set automatically. Once you click the calibrate button, a series of confirmation messages will appear on the main screen. Please read these very carefully before you click OK, because the APV will adjust and we want to make sure that it's safe to do so. A green message shows you the status while calibrating, and you'll see through the APV window that it's moving from one end to the other and returning to the calibrated position. When the calibration is completed, a green message appears showing calibration successful. When you've completed the calibration, you're ready to control from the I2O platform, so you can leave service mode to accept remote commands. So hopefully those of you who are familiar with the old controller will see that the calibration procedure is very similar, but we've made it easier to use and updated it for the new configurator program. If you have any questions on this, please do type them into the questions box and we can look at those at the end and answer them when we have time to do so. You can also find information about both the mobile configurator and the new control logger in our help center. We're adding new information all the time, so please do check there if you need user manuals or additional information. And the videos you've seen today we will be adding there shortly, so you can review those as well.
Thank you, Paul. So I'm now going to spend a few minutes updating you on the work we've been doing this quarter. I'll start by diving into the platform roadmap. You can see that the items in blue are those features and plans we've delivered on already, and the ones in grey are still pending completion. We've made a huge number of changes to the platform this year to improve performance, almost all of which you won't have noticed. However, one of those did create a problem in spite of passing testing, for which we apologise, and will continue to improve the platform performance throughout 2019. Moving on to DNet. The R&D work for our 3G logger variant is complete. So for those of you in regions where 2G is coming to the end of its life, we have now a solution that's available to you. This year, we've also enhanced alarm functionality to allow users to review previous alarms and set additional dial-up intervals. As Paul has already discussed, we released our Android configurator app for Logger 17, and we've kicked off development of version 2, which will support Logger 17 and device location using GPS on a mobile phone. This year, we're also currently working on automated asset location, recording through mobile configurator, and next year we'll be trialling NB-IoT compatible loggers. Decaying alarms wasn't on the list, but has been developed to improve the availability of information that's needed whilst maximising the battery life. With ONET, as discussed earlier, we've released our control logger and reduced APV installation time. Next year, we plan to trial NB-IoT compatible controllers, and mobile configurator will support control logger 17 in 2019 as well. At the beginning of the year, we took iNet functionality and made it available under DNet, and opened up a space to significantly enhance the analytical functions of iNet to deliver insights about network performance. By the end of this year, we'll have 6 insight areas available, viewable through 4 interfaces: dashboard, work card, graph, and map. The map interface is a huge advance from what we have previously had and brings extensive search capability, layering of insights, and standard Google Maps interface. During this year, we're working with a limited number of clients as development partners for this solution. Finally, onto our latest solution, eNet. So for those of you who don't already know, eNet is our new event management system tailored to the needs of water utilities. It can be used for bursts, sewer overflows, water quality events, security breaches, and health and safety incidents. eNet ensures that the right information is available to people as quickly as possible wherever they are, and ensures that vital steps aren't missed or duplicated. If there's any particular questions that you have about eNet or any of our solutions, you can speak to your local sales contact, who will be more than happy to walk through those in more detail with you. If you think there's something missing on our roadmap, or if you've got any particular feedback or suggestions on how we can improve our solutions, do send an email to ideas@i2owater.com. We've already had some great suggestions which we're actively monitoring and reviewing. Just a reminder, if you need any help and support, we have a help centre which provides articles and user guides on all of our solutions, and you can find this at support.i2owater.com, where you can also find the videos that we've shared today. Our technical support team are also happy to provide further training on all of our solutions to those who need it, so don't hesitate to get in touch via email to support@i2owater.com. So I've seen that there's been lots of questions coming in, which is great. So if you've not submitted any yet, there's still time for you to do so. We're just actively monitoring the chat questions panel now, so do pop your questions in.
So it's great to see we've got some questions here about Logger 17 and about APVs. So thank you to Joe and to Dominique who've asked some questions there. So first question is, if we were upgrading from a Logger 09, would you need to update the APV? We've actually thought of that, so the short answer is no. What we can do is provide an adapter cable which allows you to connect an older APV, which is the AMPV003, to our new control logger. So we just have a simple pre-made adapter which converts from one to the other. The APV itself is compatible, so I talked about some improvements we made. They haven't changed the basic functionality of the APV, they just made it easier to manufacture and reduce the cost and things like that. So they're totally compatible, and we're quite happy to supply the new control logger to work with an existing older style APV. So we've got some customers who've already got the 3P version of the Logger 17. So the question is, controller, when I've already got it. So again, the answer is yes, but it's yes, but. We haven't quite released the firmware for control as of today. We've been doing field trials around the world for the last several months to ensure that the PRV control with a control logger will be just as good as it was with the Control 09. So the Logger 17 hardware that you have, the physical device that's been delivered to you, is absolutely fine for using as a controller. But what we will need to do is to upgrade the firmware to add those control features. Also, the configurator that you have at the moment doesn't include those control features. We'll be releasing that at the same time. So what we'll do is release a new version of configurator, which you'll be able to download from the ITRO platform, from MoNet. That will include the correct version of firmware that is needed for control. So when you connect it to your control logger, it will automatically update the firmware in the logger to the right version that is needed for control. So I hope that makes sense. As I say, not available today. I think the plan is that within about 3 weeks from now, that will be available. We'll obviously announce it at the time, and we'll make you aware that's available. At that time, you'll be able to download configurator. Configurator will automatically upload your Logger 17 3P version to enable the control functions in that logger. We have some other questions. Somebody's asked about batteries and external antennas on the Logger 17. In a similar way to the Logger 14, we have field replaceable batteries. It's even easier on a Logger 17 because we've changed from the Allen screws that hold the cap on to quarter turn quick release catches. So very, very easy to take the lid off a Logger 17, and the battery is field replaceable. We also have an option for an external battery, which we won't go into too many details at the moment, but again, very simple, just to plug in a specialized external battery to increase the lifetime of the operation of a Logger 17. On the same question, there was mention of external antennas. So again, we have an external antenna option for Logger 17. Unlike Logger 14, we've changed to an industry standard antenna connector. So we can supply antennas with the Logger 17, or you can buy your own antennas or use whatever type you've used, maybe on other loggers or other applications within your company, because it's now a standard waterproof antenna connection rather than the rather special one that we had before. So I hope that answers that question. Several options for external antennas and very easy to change. Is there a different product reference for the logger controller as compared to the Logger 17 3P version? So no, whenever you buy a 3P version of an I2O Logger 17, you're getting that control logger functionality built in. So you don't need to order a special version. Every 3P version is capable of having the control enabled. Every 3P version will have the extra connector for connecting to an APV. Obviously, you may not use it. You may want to use it only as a logger, which is fine. You may want to use it for PRV condition monitoring, for example, and it's very well suited for that. And what a lot of our clients are talking about is to deploy them initially for PRV condition monitoring, and then depending on what they find from that initial few months of logging, to decide whether or not to put advanced pressure control on that PRV. So obviously in that case, you don't need to replace the logger. All you need to do is to buy the APV and installation kit, and you can go and add it to the logger that's already there installed on that PRV. So this is great. We've got loads of questions rolling in, so we may not have time for all of them, but I'm going to try and get through a few more. So we have a question here from the Middle East asking about whether we have any plans to make an enterprise version of our PRV control system. As you know, I2O normally supply a solution via the cloud, totally I2O hosted cloud solution. And the short answer to that is no, we don't have any plans to have an enterprise solution. We find that our customers around the world are very happy with the cloud-based solution. We understand that in some regions that causes particular difficulties, and we're happy to work with you to answer any questions about security or about where data is held and those sort of things. But I can tell you that it's not on our roadmap to have a locally hosted version of ONET, the PRV control solution. We have a question there about ENET, which, as Poppy mentioned, is our new product for this year. And we have a question to do with wastewater. Now, obviously, this is a very different from I2O's usual offering. Up until now, we've only been involved in water supply solutions. ENET is very different from other solutions in that it's really a process management or work management solution. So for that reason, it's equally applicable to wastewater, water quality, health and safety, other aspects where a company is managing events of different types and managing a large number of people involved in that. The ENET solution is a standalone solution that enables your teams to work together to record and share key information during operational incidents. So, of course, we're designing it initially around water supply incidents like loss of supply to your customers or bursts, things like that. But it could equally be applied to other areas of your business, example, wastewater. So if you had for example, a spilled environment incident that you needed to manage, and that you've got site people, you've got managers, you've got PR people, customer services people, it's a way of managing the communications and the coordination between all those different sorts of people. We can't go into it in too much detail at the moment, but I hope that gives you an overview of the sort of thing that we're talking about. It's really to do with people management more than the engineering network management. So we have somebody who's asked, can I still order the old controller? The answer to that is no, you can't. We've actually made the decision to move entirely over to the new control logger. We believe it has many benefits and no downsides. So we will no longer be supplying the old style Controller 09. But as we've already mentioned, the new control logger is totally compatible with your existing APVs. It's also completely compatible with your existing platform. You don't need to configure it any differently. So it's a very easy upgrade to go from using the old Controller 09 to the new control logger based on Logger 17. We also have somebody asking about the mobile configurator app. So we've got a question here, does mobile configurator app work with Apple phones? The answer to that is no. We've designed it to work only on Android devices. We did some research on this and found that Android devices are the most commonly used by field technicians around the world. The Android devices, whether it's a phone or a tablet, tend to be significantly cheaper than Apple iPhones or iPads. So we have no plans at the moment to produce an Apple version of the app. Is the mobile configurator downloadable now? So the answer is yes. If you go to the Google Play Store, where you normally download your Android apps, if you search there for I2O, you should find the I2O app. What I would mention is that it's not enabled in every country around the world. So depending on where you're based, it may not be enabled for your region. If you can't find it, please do contact us. You can email us at support@i2owater.com and tell us which region you're in, and we will enable it in the Play Store for your local region. but it's already available and in use in at least half a dozen countries around the world. So it's available for many of you already. If you find it's not available in your country, please do let us know, and we'll add that for you. Okay, I think that's probably covered all of the questions for now. So thank you for all of those. It's really good to have your questions, your interaction. It's great to know you're there and listening. But I'm going to pass back to Poppy now to tie up.
Thanks, Paul. So any that we haven't answered, we'll respond to directly via email after the webinar. After receiving feedback from our last user group, we have now created a LinkedIn user group, which we'd like you all to join. This will provide a platform for I2O clients to generate open discussions with the I2O team and, of course, other users. The group will keep you updated by sharing new solutions and features, providing useful information on common technical issues, and sharing dates of our upcoming user group webinars. So please do let us know if you'd like to be invited to the group. It is a private group, so just let us know and we can invite you to that. You can now see our contact details on the screen. So if you have got any additional questions or would like to know more about anything we've covered today, please contact us or check out the support website at support@i2owater.com. Thank you again for all the feedback you've provided on our user group today. When you close your GoToWebinar window, a small survey will pop up. So if you can just spare a minute filling that out, we can take on board any comments for our next user group. And finally, thank you very much to Paul. And thank you so much to everyone who took part in our user group. I hope you've enjoyed it and we've covered some useful information which you can put into practice. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Poppy, and thank you everyone for joining in. That was really good today and great to hear your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.